Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of the X Button, Season 5, Episode 33. I'm one of your hosts, Alejandro, with me, joined by my lovely brothers in arms.
Hey everybody, I'm the curly-headed frick Paul.
And I'm the loudmouth, obnoxious idiot Rick.
Glad getting you both of you together. Like after the last episode that aired was just the two of you guys, because we're definitely gonna address that. But glad to see you here. How are you guys doing? Real quick.
Got a little case of deja vu, but
Yeah.
I had an extremely difficult and stressful time trying to handle vehicle troubles, and on the plus side, I'm finally gonna get that sorted out probably tomorrow.
Awesome.
We're gonna hope for that though.
Is it gonna be the price you told me it was gonna be, or were you able to kind of like find?
I can't remember what I had told you exactly, but we got something sorted out. The trade-in credit for my van is going to be a lot higher than they were at first theorizing, because I used to work at a car dealership and I know their tricks. And fortunately, that seems to have helped me out this time. So I'm going to be getting another van in place of it, and it's a much newer one.
Awesome.
So that'll be nice.
And how about you, Rick?
no, not too much. Just kind of,
Living life.
Cool. Yeah, pretty much. It's been a pretty hectic week, but
oh yeah. And by the way, because it's like on the record, I want to thank you guys for that episode that you guys got to cover, which was the last one that aired, because for the first time in 2 years, we lost an episode last week. That was just me and Rick. That was my return because I wasn't in that episode where it was just the two of you guys. And we'll kind of briefly mention some of the things that got lost that basically happened that week, just kind of as a way to kind of just catch up on those things. But yeah, that episode was lost. Ironically, the same week in 2023, we lost an episode too that Paul remembers dearly, about a time when we were raving about Starfield, and then we lost that episode. And then the next time that we came back in, we hated Starfield.
What a journey.
I'm a Starfield defender. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and it was there was a time being Paul were like we were like raving against.
And there's parts of it that I still I love the actual shooting, and I love like the actual piloting of the ship. It's kind of everything else that I think I've turned on.
Well, if the whole rumor of it being like more of a seamless like traveling between systems is true, I think that'll go a long way to making it a lot better.
Was that going to be part of the update for the next expansion?
That's the rumor. Yes. It's what's the code name it's been given? Like I can't even remember. But yeah,
it's something that they're finally trying to deal with, especially because Star Wars Outlaws. One of the best things about that game is making everything feel seamless, despite the fact that it's still a loading screen.
I am very mad at Star Wars Outlaws right now.
Oh,
I was playing it yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And I was on Tatooine, and I fell off like a bridge or whatever. The goddamn game saved when I fell off the bridge.
No.
And every time it would load, it was her in the air falling.
Oh no.
So I loaded the last manual save that I had, and it was like 2 hours earlier.
Oh, that's horrible.
So yeah, right now I kind of hope that the creative director of that game has a million plague-ridden rats biting in his nutsack for all of eternity.
A classic Ubisoft fashion. But glad for you guys to be here. Sorry, people, for the episode that got lost, that gave us that kind of like that off week. That's kind of serendipitous considering everything that happened last week. That probably like we were just off by inertia, by circumstances. But we're back here.
Alex, through our discussion in that epic 3-hour marathon, we came across the meaning of life, and it's now lost forever.
Yes, but at least we get that memory. Yeah, at least we get that memory is like seared in our brains now through you and I, Rick. But glad for you guys to be here. It's kind of like what I told you guys, like you guys are my people, and I love kind of like chilling with you guys, especially how much I love just hearing you guys talk in that episode from 2 weeks ago when I was kind of like off. But yeah, glad that you guys are here. And a reminder that this is the X Bottom Podcast, Escapes Gaming Podcast, that posts every Fridays from 10 a.m. onwards, God willing, my internet willing, available on the YouTube channel Escape Gaming, as well as most audio services around the world, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the like. You can find links in the RSS feed at tinyurl.com/escapegaming. If you enjoy our show, give us a like and subscribe. And I still want to kind of keep plugging in the episode these two guys did, because I really loved it. It was like a very soothing, very pleasing discussion about topics that I love, without unmentioned people coming in to just rob our peace. But regardless of that, time to talk about what we've been playing. Paul, since we haven't I haven't really heard from you. What do you want to talk about of what you've been playing?
Well, I think I don't know if we actually talked about our of course my entire Chrome just like froze up on me, but at least this works.
Yes.
We talked about our Helldivers foray, I think, or did we not?
You did. Yeah, we did.
We did
Okay,
in
cool.
the episode that got lost.
That that's what it was. Okay,
Oh,
so
sorry. I thought you meant when you were playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. You mean when
I
the
think the
three of
last
us
time
played
he
it.
played was that was all three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
fun. But anyway, I haven't actually touched it since then because the same like kind of vibe as Helldivers is kind of what is covering me with Borderlands right now. It is a game that in the opening hour, maybe 2 hours, I hated. I did not find it a good game. I did not think there was anything really redeeming about it. It was drab. Part of that, I think, is because they don't even give you your class ability, which I don't think was a thing in the previous games anyway, but you got it so quickly because you would level up like pretty fast and then it would finally give you the tutorial for it. But for this one, they just kind of held off on that entirely. And the only redeeming character gets murdered in like the first 15 minutes. However, after that point, and a quick class switch from the Siren over to the Forge Knight, I have had a lot better RNG for some variety and a much better time just running around and doing stuff. And I also love how different the size variant is, because of course the game is in first person, but based on the height of the character you picked, your camera is going to be higher or lower. Shout out to all of the Borderlands 2 Gunzerker fans running around as like a little imp.
I was about to ask, did it do that for him? I know he's like a dwarf. Okay.
But it's funny because when you look at the character from a different angle, I think there's like a minimum that it'll put it at. So the actual player could see out a little higher than his actual model. So it led to a lot of people like aiming at the Gunzerker's head, and they're like, "Why are you aiming at my knees?" so that was a little weird. There's some trickery going on there, but for the most part, it tries to follow that. And I know as the Forge Knight, my dude is just like scraping the top of every doorway he walks through, and that's very fun because it feels real to life.
It's really unfortunate, Paul, that you couldn't really stick with the Vex, especially because what you were telling me is that the guns that you were getting just simply were not working.
It was literally like the 3 guns that I'd gotten were all variants of the same burst fire SMG, and I was like, "Are y'all kidding me right now?"
The RNG gods were not favoring you. It seems.
It was not.
I got quite a variety early on, so you really got bad RNG when you were playing.
It was genuinely laughably funny how it was just the same gun 3 times, and then I got a pistol, and I was like, "Whoa, really breaking the mold." However, I'm happy to report that I have a lot more variety going on, a lot of free stuff that was dropped in. I'm a little confused by the way you are rewarded for quest rewards and different things. It gives you like a loot box essentially that you can choose when you open up. And it took me until today to really wrap my head around that concept. I was like, why am I getting these? And how is this happening? And also, why am I not getting the rewards for all these quests I've done up until now?
Right.
And I realize now it's because it doesn't automatically give it to you, which on the one hand I get, because if you have a full inventory and you beat a quest, they don't want you to like have to give up something. Alternatively, I also know it's like probably for a lot of people trying to reach max rank and then go back and do that, or to hold on to that until they're at max rank to get the highest chance of a weapon, which is what we used to do in Borderlands 2 days. But overall, this game is freaking huge, and I feel like I don't make any progress no matter how much time I'm sinking into it, how many enemies I'm shooting. You have to, like, I am beelining. I'm driving through this world on the major road just to get to the next main quest line. I've done like 2 side things, and it still feels like I've made no progress.
I would still want to say that some of the side stuff that you can do is actually really good. It's less fetchy than it used to be in Borderlands. There's like more elaborate quest lines where things happen. And
I have noticed the 2 that I did do, it was like this dynamic ship crash and I had to help the guy that was in it. And then another one was the weird like pachinko machine at the base where you get to just keep spending your money like the slot machine in Mock Season 2. I did appreciate that, but I could feel the urge to just keep throwing the power core in to try to get something that was going to take over for me. As far as like the characters, they're kind of nothing so far, but they are endearing. I like Rush. He's growing on me where he's like, I just had some freshly baked protein bars from the oven. I was like, oh, okay, I know exactly the kind of guy he is. And like there's always some specific quirk everybody has. Don't really like the science lady all that much, but I'm sure she'll grow on me. I want to see more of like the past characters from Borderlands. I feel like that used to be such a big thing. They were in the trailers, so I know some of them are. But I'm just waiting for that to happen, essentially.
And that was kind of like why I needed to wrap my head around why 4 felt so different to start, is because you saw so many of the same characters from 1 all the way to 3, and at least some of that familiarity, even as you were introduced to new playable characters, at least seeing the Siren from the first and second game again as a kind of like a quest giver, and others kind of like NPCs that you were getting quests from, some aided to some of the familiarity, even when the tone of the tone of that series kept getting worse and worse with subsequent entries. And this one definitely feels like a clearer first, like fresh start to Borderlands. So that means like even the villain, like that timekeeper villain, which I think it's actually really cool. Like in that
it's
idea,
a
like
great
what
concept.
He does.
I gotta give him that.
It's like I appreciate that the tone at least is not the meme-tastic like tone that Plague 3 that was like so unbelievably overbearing.
It absolutely was way too far in the other direction. Part of it, I think, is just life has moved on and the same comedy doesn't hit the same way. So I feel like they could have done like a perfect recreation of 2 and everybody would have hated it, you know? It's just like people have moved on. The internet humor is very different now, but it's real like subjective as the world has gone terminally online. But 3 definitely was a step in a weird direction for the internet humor, very Ralph breaks the internet kind of energy to it. So this has been an improvement for sure in that direction. I just wish there was a little more momentum.
And that's the problem of it being more of a full open world instead of the segmented sections that you could get in the in Borderlands 1, 2, and 3. It's like there's some advantages of it being like a seamless open world, which means that almost every quest line that you can do, everything is close together in a way, so it's easier to kind of flow from side quest to something that randomly happens. I think it's kind of like what we told Rick, that there's a little bit of Far Cry energy in the way that things emerge into the world, and
especially with those rest zones in the actual open world, because I kept driving past them and I was like, where are the fast travel stations? Not realizing that the respawn stations are separate from the fast travel, and you have to actually like unlock them like the radio towers and like do a terminal pad thing to get it online so you could use it after. Which I was frustrated about, but it's whatever. I think I'm just used to a certain level of energy from Borderlands and like trying to spend as little time in my inventory and on the map as possible. It already takes forever to go through my inventory all the time. So I was hoping for just more shooty. But I will say, when you're actually doing the shooty, it's super fun.
Yes, especially when you combine it with everything. Now that I have my, I'm playing the Vex, the Siren, and Rick, you saw my gameplay that with the wings and the ball of energy. Yes, I was kind of like mixing the 30-second loop of throwing grenades, shooting in the head, throwing this like vortex power, and kind of like mixing.
The 30-second rule is very accurate here, and I feel like I don't even have the time to use all my tools before a fight is over or I've died.
Yeah, so it's like. In playability, is probably the best it's felt. I would say it does feel slightly slower than 3 right now, especially as in console, because there's no FOV slider. So because our FOV is so zoomed in, that makes kind of movement feel like slower than it really is. They're patching an FOV slider soon. They already like put a PC patch, because that thing has been the PC version of this game has just been a meme of people saying that it's so bad. And the worst part is that the creative director has been such a baby about
no, that doesn't sound like him at all.
Yeah, not the creative director. The president of Gearbox, Randy Pitchford, has just been like so tone deaf in how he's kind of like answering and dealing with the feedback, when it's like, just shut up, like freaking shut up, like let your devs cook, because you got a really good game here, one that people like more than 3. like 6 years ago. Stop like doing everything in your power to sabotage the goodwill that they've hard earned. Like even the creative director said that I'm gonna fire myself if I launch this thing with toilet humor. He literally said I'm not gonna have stupid thing like skivity or anything when we do this game because we're addressing our complaints. Like we know that it was a labor if we want to fix what ailed Borderlands 3 when it did 4, and for the most part a lot of that you can feel it, and it sucks that the technical performance of over on PC and the way the president has been like lashing online about it is that's how you grow resentment. People, that's how you can grow the resentment to be like just take it on the chin and let the work come out, because like you're undermining the work of all your developers. That's basically what's happening with what's going on with Borderlands 4 right now, which is unfortunate because it's a really good game. It's an 84 on Metacritic right now, which is a step up from the 78 of 3. So I'm enjoying like what I'm playing. It's just that I was reviewing something. But before I jump into that, Rick, what game do you want to talk about?
You want to start with the big one or the not big one?
However you want to take it.
I'll save the big one so that Paul can talk about it too.
Okay.
Well, a little bit last week I talked about Cronos. I don't remember exactly what I said, so I'll try to recoup those steps a little bit.
Yeah.
The best way I can describe this game in terms of how I feel about it overall is this was probably one of my biggest. Man, I did not call that one correctly because I was hopeful but not expectant that this would be very good. And this is probably one of my favorite games of the year, actually. I think right now it's probably sliding in around maybe number 5, somewhere around there, but with the possibility to move up. Surprisingly long, first of all. But this is like old school style survival horror, which I really like. You're not fighting like large mobs of enemies at a time, usually 1 to 3 maybe at a time, but the enemies themselves do a pretty good, pretty good damage when it comes down to it. But you are also very limited on inventory space. Like I'm talking RE1 limited. And so you gotta actually be somewhat, I don't want to say strategic, but you kind of got to think your way through battles a little bit. You kind of want to utilize barrels and stuff like that, to do as much damage with as little ammo usage as possible. But what this game has that is its kind of unique call to fame, if you will, is the enemies in this are all, at least as far as I can tell, all like this biomass thing, right? Almost like a hive mind of flesh. And pretty early in the game, it teaches you that they actually, if there's a dead enemy or even an existing enemy that's dead there that you never actually fought or whatever, if you are not careful, they can actually absorb the dead enemy into them. They call it merging. And you do not want this to happen because they don't become a little bit more difficult. They become exponentially more difficult. And they don't just do this once. If you're not careful, they can do this multiple times. And before you know it, you've got effectively a mini boss running around where you're not otherwise supposed to have one, right? But there are ways to counteract this if you're smart. Number one, you obviously got to stay aggressive and make sure they don't get to that point. But in addition, you have what's called a torch. It's more of like a little mini ground flamethrower. However, with very limited ammo that does also take up inventory space, you can really only carry, under normal circumstances, 1 at a time, but you can upgrade that to be like 3. Now you can craft others if you want, but that gets pretty expensive because like crafting resources are pretty limited in this. But you can use that for 3 purposes. One is if you have an enemy that's down on the ground, torching it will make it that it's no longer even viable to be merged into. You can use it in combat. It'll do some damage over time as well as weakening up the enemy. Or number 3 is if you've played the original version of Dead Space, not the remake. Mm-hmm. If you remember, you would have doors that required a power node to unlock, mm-hmm. right? Kind of a similar idea here, where you will find a certain form of growth over pathways. You can use the torch to open them. And I mean, there's sometimes other ways to do it. Like sometimes you have a barrel and then it'll be like it'll be close to a part of it and it'll kind of trickle down and get it. But not always. Sometimes you do actually have to use the torch or some variation of fire in order to open them. So you kind of have to really plan out your resource usage. It's set in a kind of post-world ending some part of Poland. I don't know what city specifically. I'm sure they say, and it might be Warsaw. I don't know, but it has a very Christmas 1981 aesthetic because that's kind of when this whole plague started to take place and kind of stop society. And what's kind of interesting is you're again in well after basically the downfall of humanity, at least in Poland. I don't know if it's that way worldwide or not, but and this group that you're part of called the Travelers actually will find these dive spots and they go back in time to find people theoretically not long after 1981, but I don't know exactly when, who seem to have some kind of knowledge of what was happening, or maybe they encountered other travelers that had time traveled and were starting. And basically, what you're doing is you're stealing their soul, for lack of a better word, and uploading it into this giant computer. Where it seems like the idea is they want to merge all the knowledge and theoretically see what they can do to prevent this from happening. But there's some questions as to whether you actually are the good guys or not, and. Mm-hmm. It's pretty interesting. I mean, I haven't finished it, so I can't speak to the quality of the story overall, but the idea is pretty neat. It's a little weird on paper, but when you actually play it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think, Paul, this is one of those, when there's a sale, like, we might consider it, right? Because, like, it does sound interesting, like, something that, like, you and I like. Like,
it definitely sounds like something as sacrilegious as it sounds. I would be much more interested in playing Kronos than Silent Hill F.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all guns. It's all guns, so it very much fits into what you're saying.
Yes, and that's the thing with Paul. Like, give him guns over like sticks or one-shot weapons because he doesn't like. He likes semi-automatics a lot, or just.
No, I also prefer firearms to melee, but I won't not play it because it's melee, and I don't mean that as an insult to you, Paul. I just it's not a total turn off for me, but I do prefer firearms myself as well.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I'm very interested to see how Silent Hill F as a completely melee like focused game like works, because you technically can play Silent Hill 2 just as with melee. It's not highly recommended, but you can.
It would get pretty hard with some of them.
Yeah, but it's like you could still try to do this. So it's kind of like that idea, and it's at least more tuned to that. And Silent Hill 2 remake, it's pretty good, even though it got a little long in the tooth and parts. But I'm glad to hear that Bluebird got like. I always keep hearing it like Cronos is the game that has surprised a lot of people this year.
This is the one more than Silent Hill, right? This is the one that you go, okay, I have confidence in Bloober again because they have something. It's good, but also specifically, it's not just a remake of something else that somebody else made. They made this. They made this from ground up. They started the lore. I think it's an Unreal Engine 5 game. Of that, I'm not sure.
It is.
But okay, that's what I thought. Actually, I will say. This is on a PS5 Pro, to be clear. I don't know how standard at PS5 is, and I know the PC version was a mess at launch. I don't know if it's better now. It does run pretty well. It does not have a dedicated PS5 Pro, so it simply is brute forcing the extra power.
And that's so funny because Borderlands 4 is also an Unreal Engine 5 game that's also just brute forcing the base PS5 version on the Pro. So I do wonder if something happened with the recent version of UE5 that the Pro is not working with, and they're just kind of like just letting the normal version of the engine just kind of like brute force with the extra power. Sometimes that's better instead of like a poor implementation of Pisser, because that's what happened with Silent Hill 2. That was like one of the worst.
And that is possible because while they obviously weren't able to dig into it, I think if I remember correctly in that video, Digital Foundry said they didn't see any like PS5 Pro specific features either, although it was running very well on a base in the first place. And I assume the Pro can probably brute force slightly higher.
Oh yeah.
Frame rates and all that stuff, but so yeah, it might be like the pisser might be dead before it ever really rose for UE5.
I mean, the pisser is maybe changed to FSR4 soon based on like what Sony's doing. So
sounds like I'm once again justified in having a base PS5.
No, because the Pro's still better, just not the pisser.
Exactly, in some ways. But the thing is, probably because you still play on your monitor, you still kind of like limit yourself to keeping it good enough that you don't have to like worry about.
You got to stay restrained in some way, man. You got to hold yourself to a certain level of.
You make your ceiling so low that the floor doesn't matter, right?
Hey,
exactly.
Hey, Rick, he played Rebirth, launch era Rebirth, on the performance mode. So it's like you remember that blurry era, right?
I went back and forth with my one friend who was like, "No, it's not that bad that way." I'm like, "Yes, it is. Get your eyes checked. It's terrible that way."
Yes, because it was so blurry, even though it ran well. So it's like, but it was just an eyesore for a game that was so pretty.
When you're across half a room on a 32-inch TV,
yeah,
doesn't matter.
Oh my God, Paul.
Yeah, That's how he plays, even though he has
Can you even read the text in a game like that?
The only game that I struggle to read the text for was Death Stranding 1.
Yes.
Because everything is so zoomed out and tiny that I was like, what are you saying?
Yeah,
which they ended up fixing for the second game. So
yeah,
and
they patched in one the way to like increase the font size too. So even that problem eventually got nipped in the bud. God of War 2018 also had like small font problem, which is ironic because then God of War Ragnarok launched with like too big font.
Yeah, they took up the whole screen. Yeah,
they had to like patch in to be able to like make the font smaller. So they went the other way, but. Silksong dance, Rick, because we missed their guy. Like people miss the.
Well, they would have heard me, gush about it on the episode with Paul, but I didn't get to talk about it last week. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this game is. I mean, this is something special. There's just no way to put it. Mm-hmm. All I can say though is, damn, they did not do you any favors in terms of the difficulty, because this game is brutal.
Yeah,
there are times, man. It's one of the hardest games I've ever played. At times, at others it's not. At others it's not. But at times, man, it is just merciless. You really should not necessarily play through, but at least play some of Hollow Knight first, because it's pretty clear at the very beginning of this, it functions with the assumption that you have some idea of the combat flow, because it does give you a little like brief training, but it throws you into the middle of things right off the bat. And
do you still want to kill ants?
Well, thankfully I'm past them.
Okay.
And I may or may not have.
So glad they've only been in that region as well.
I mean, I see them elsewhere, but nowhere near to the level of what they are in Hunter's March. Yeah. I actually yesterday I was fighting one of the big guys with the clubs, and it made me want to pull my eyes out, because it was this tiny little area with that guy and one of the flying ones who. There will be a very specific pointed seat in hell for the Team Cherry designer who came up with that flying ant guy with the spear.
Yeah,
that guy is evil.
Yeah. Funny enough, in Hunter's March, there's a pointed seat as well.
What? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This game is very interesting, but very strangely, I have had so much less trouble with it than I did for Hollow Knight. Just everything about the how you get the dash and sprint so early in the game, making my life so much easier. And then once I got the Reaper moveset, it is just a different game. And I have had far less difficulty than than Rick here, and just about everybody else, it seems. The only struggle that I keep having is that I keep getting lost.
Yeah.
However,
but that's Paul's. That's always been Paul's kind of like.
I even have the compass. I know where I am. Thank God. The problem is that the icon is so large. Sometimes I can't see where I can actually go.
You know what might fix that? Not being on a 480p television that's 32 inches and 250 feet away.
Oh no, he's right.
You might be able to figure out where you are.
Truthfully, it is more like. I'll go to every corner of the place, but I mean, that was a Hollow Knight issue as well, where it's like, you'll go to every single little gap in the map that you're like, that might be something. And then you're reminded once again that, no, you need something else for this. But fortunately now I have the wall climb, I have all the other stuff besides like a dedicated double jump feature that...
I believe we have a question in the front.
Oh yeah, what's up?
I think also what's helping you is that you played Hollow Knight before I met you, and you hated Metroidvanias. You were always getting so lost, and I feel like your mind has grown to appreciate Metroidvania design since then. That's probably
I'm truly not smooth-brained anymore.
Yes, that was always a joke.
I did not play a lot of Metroidvanias before I met y'all, and
we gotta fix that.
Well, it wasn't even like, because there was just that stretch of time during the 360 era where nothing was a Metroidvania.
Yeah,
was just everything was a 3D hack and slash game, or it was a platformer, or heck, even platformers were dying. It was like everything had to be a third-person shooter. But outside of that, finally, as indies started coming back to the console market, I started playing a lot more of them, and to mixed reception because some of them are just way too freaking long. I do not appreciate Prince of Persia: Lost Crown for not respecting my time,
Yeah, it's too long for
um,
Metroidvania.
and
Way too
having
long.
a way too huge of that stuff going on. The pacing of the upgrades being all over the place and all that. Hollow Knight was right there as well because I'm
Hollow Knight
just
is long.
slowly walking through 70% of the game before I finally got the ability to do his little jet move. Even then, like it's not like you can really use it practically. You have to like have a clear horizontal line. You can't like just sprint or anything.
And I feel because in the little that I play of Silksong, because I've been playing the original too, because I feel like a poser playing Silksong without finishing the first one. I'm kind of like there in that mindset. I really want to play through the original.
With how disconnected it is so far, still, I would say don't feel too bad about it.
I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of connection between
I think
them.
mechanically
Outside
is the only reason.
outside of Hornet's background, that is probably the only area there's much connection at all.
I just have to give props to Silksong that it feels more initially inviting to kind of like guide you instead of like the listlessness of the start of Hollow Knight, of the original one that you're kind of just like...
It's almost like the way that like the spiders in the universe are, right? They invite you in just to get you tangled in their web so that they can suck out your juices and eat you.
Yeah.
That's exactly how Silksong functions.
Yeah,
Topical.
It's like, hey, we're friendly. And you come in and it's like, oh, here's the Widow boss fight. Have fun.
Yeah.
that fight had me puckering, that's all I can say. That's a tough
It's
one.
funny. I'm trying to remember what I actually had the most hard. I think it was actually the duel fight with, what's the girl with the maps? What's her name?
Shakti or something like that.
It's something like that.
That's a Star Wars character.
Yep. I keep wanting to say Shauna, and I know that's not right. But anyway, the tall lady. She helps you out in that fight in Hunter's March with all that, because I was just brute forcing that whole region, really trying to figure it out. However, I will say once I got through that part, I don't think a single platforming hazard has been nearly as frustrating as that like little red bulb situation. And now that I have the Reaper, it is just not an issue anymore.
Yeah, you can do more of a standard pogo now that you have.
It's so much easier. Oh my gosh.
I can't in good conscience use that because I'm so used to seeing Hornet do the diagonal attack. But there's no question it makes the platforming way harder.
I hate that diagonal down attack, and the fact that what I wish is if it was a true Castlevania down A, where he just kept traveling, but the fact that she only does it a little bit and then stops.
Yes.
Oh man, that burns me up because I've done it so many times where I've lined it up perfectly and she ends right before it lands. I was like, there's no point in this. I would at least be able to line up the shot and call it earlier. And I feel like that would be even a higher skill ceiling for that. But anyway, I have been blown away by how amazing the environments are. Gorgeous not
game.
Only chilling it is, but so much more vibrant and alive it was than Hollow Nest. And I really like that more because there's more to bounce off. There's more to be invested in. I respect what Hollow Knight was going for with its absolutely like dead everything and only having a couple of people that are all just either insane or trying to get something from you. But I really like this one a lot more. I love that Hornet actually speaks to everyone and how done with everybody's crap she can kind of be.
She can be a little bitchy at times.
It's
I
real
like
Keith David's Arbiter, kill me or release me, parasite, but do not waste my time with talk. Like she talks exactly like that, and I almost think of Keith David talking.
You happen to rescue the one flea guy who said he tries to give her a nickname, and he goes, maybe I could call you blah blah blah, and she goes, no, you shall not. You shall call me my name or nothing at all.
I've seen that one. It is fantastic. And there was another thing that I'd scrolled past earlier, and it's just like either give me what I'm looking for and stay quiet, or learn to find out the meaning of regret. It's like fantastic Hornet, no notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so overall, I'm definitely liking the world of this one more. It seems the mechanics of it all, the fact that you can change your move set so much, which there's like other ones out there as well. There's like a beast one that does the Bloodborne healing while you're attacking move. There's a few others that I've seen like the icon for it, no idea what it does, but there's just a lot more stuff to be found. And I'd say I'm not even 25% through with finding everything, but I gotta find out how to go forward next.
Hey, I gotta give a shout out to the bro Silking It, who has already finished it 3 times.
That's insane.
He finished it, then 100%ed it, then speed ran it, did it in under 4 hours, and then speed ran it again. And I think was able to do it a little bit faster than that.
Now this isn't the guy that was hating Hollow Knight, right?
No,
Silking It loves Hollow Knight.
Okay,
probably more than I do.
There's no way. There's no.
Yeah, the guy that was hating
Clint.
it was Clint, his co-host over and
Clint. Okay.
in Spread and the Nerd.
No, Silking It actually might like Hollow Knight even more than I do.
Yeah, but also Clint is like his specialty is indies. Like he plays indies above most things too. So
Did you say Clint or Silking It? I think
Silking It.
Okay. Well, Silken plays everything, but he is like the indie master. He knows every indie there is, and his Steam wish list, I'm not joking, it's like 500 games long.
Yeah.
I told him once, I was gonna get something for him randomly, because he had got me something once. And I was like, I couldn't find anything that was out because your damn wish list was so big.
I mean, he probably got bigger with the 6-1
sure.
With the 6-1 indie showcase that happened today. That I briefly kind of like saw like in the IGN stream, but I didn't see it fully. But I'm glad that Silksong has been like delivering for so many people, considering how long people really waited for it. It's like it's a clear chew-in for GOTY right now.
It has a genuine chance of winning Game of the Year.
For sure.
In some places, not necessarily everywhere, but in some places it definitely does.
I think it's very funny as well that it has once again revitalized the FromSoft debate about difficulty.
Oh yes.
And like it's just all over the place, especially since Gene jumped in as well, and we both follow him. How I don't even know if I fully agree with his take on this one, because I know Rick doesn't really subscribe to Gene's philosophy on a lot of things.
Very little.
Yeah. So it was kind of debating the concept of like, was it VGC's article? I think it was.
Give it a 6. VGC.
Their review was insane. Yeah.
It was very interesting to like. I could not help but sympathize because I understand where the writer's coming from, but to say what they were saying alongside the like, this is punishing and not fun and borders on poorly designed, and I was like, oh, this is gonna upset so many people. Because like I understand, I hate the concept of dealing with some of that stuff, and like personally I'm not sure if the resources for like using the tools is necessary, because like you just reuse it anyway. I've never even gotten low, but apparently a lot of people are really struggling. Like if you keep going back to the same boss, you keep reusing those resources. I've never had an issue with it.
I'm almost always topped off on the, what are they called, like claw pieces or whatever.
Yeah, I'm always topped off, but at the same time I don't use them as much. I think some people are really relying on them a lot.
Probably.
Which like on the one hand, that's like clearly you should know that is not your primary source of damage or protection.
It's your backup. Yeah,
that is your only backup, especially when all you have is the single knife. Please find something different. Don't use the single knife, man.
It's best for like when you are in a gank fight. You use it to thin out the hordes from a distance, so that you can then get in and actually start dealing some damage.
Oh, I think another thing that's really helped me out is that understanding holding off on using your silk for healing versus using it for damage.
Oh yeah.
That has been an eye-opening experience, because my Hollow Knight time, all I would do was use it for healing, and that was miserable because all I would do is exactly that and not have fun with any of the powers. But here it's like, no, you use that, you can end a fight in like half the time.
Her attack that she used against you in Hollow Knight, where she like swings the thread around herself, Like that's a very, very good attack.
Oh, I have completely demolished fights through that. Alejandro, what you got?
Where do you guys land with the runbacks? Because I know that's been like the biggest complaint of like the distance of where the last chair is.
That strikes me as a problem for a lot of people who haven't gotten the sprint.
That and I will say it's also not good pre-planning. Like obviously, when you first get to a boss, you can't pre-plan because you don't know it's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But afterwards, you go look and go, okay, this boss is tough. It's destroyed me the first time. What is my closest bench? Like for example, I mentioned to you how I was really struggling with that damn savage beast fly or whatever. So I made a point before I went back to it to go to a different bench. That's when I found the one in Hunter's March. And I was like, okay, that's actually not so bad. So I'm not going to criticize anybody on that, but I do believe it's a lack of preparation, because if you encounter a boss and realize it's tough, the first thing you should do should not be run back to get the Silk and die again. Mm-hmm. It should be planning out your run back for the next time.
Yeah. It's just, I've noticed that's been the most common complaint in almost every review that I've read. That's like the one thing that I've zeroed in that everyone has kind of like universally agreed that is the one thing that's not so good. But that's kind of why.
Maybe later they're much longer. I don't know. But where I am now, I haven't seen any that I thought were terrible.
I haven't seen anything that is horrible. Because like even say the Widow fight, Rick, the bench for that is right around the corner.
If you clear out the shortcut back to it, you can get back to that fight in 20 seconds. Yeah.
Even the slab, which is not a place that you've even gotten to, Rick, yet. That is the place that everybody's talking about where you lose all your gear. It's a whole thing.
You get Metroided, huh?
Yeah, essentially. Which actually is a tip. If you find an enemy that has like the frickin' Bloodborne cage on his back, accept your fate and get taken, because apparently there are very few of those enemies, and you can actually miss out on that entire segment if you kill the enemy. And then because like they only spawn in certain zones and it's never the same for a lot of people, so it's better to just get taken and do that segment and then go back to normal afterwards. But anyway, there's a lot of parts that are like, if you're struggling with a really long run back, it's very possible that you just haven't found the bench that is like the connection point, or there's usually another route that you have,
or a shortcut that you open, or something,
or a shortcut. Yeah. But then there's some like the Hunter's March one where you just have to go straight through that gauntlet. But the fun thing is,
don't forget,
there is one
that bench can be used. You got to disarm the trap.
You have to run to the left first, and then
you have to knock out the false wall. Yeah.
I didn't realize that part of it at the time, so I actually brute forced it. But and that's kind of the case in this point, where a lot of it is just not understanding what your surroundings are and working with it. Like when you go to a new region, kind of work through the natural flow of the place, but your goal should definitely be to find that map, and it is going to save you so much headache.
Find the map, find the bench, find the bell beast, whatever that thing's called, the fast travel. That is your 3 top priorities anytime you get to a new location.
I went through the entirety of Greymoor without a map.
Because you went to the left instead of the right?
Yep.
That's actually one of the earliest areas that you find the map if you go to the right.
I love going to the left first in places, because like the Metroid rule is you go to the right. So I love going left, especially at that one freaking Metroid Dread moment where you had to go left and at a flat wall and shoot at it, and I didn't know that, so I wasted so much time. But anyway, so to really make a roundabout point, Alejandro, it's valid, but it's because it is a very it wants you to meet it at its level, and you have to have some prerequisite knowledge of how to play not only the genre but that series.
Yeah.
And I guess another tip that I can give that I do believe maybe is going over people's heads if they don't know this, because it's much more prevalent in Silksong than it was in Hollow Knight. Attack every wall.
Yes.
Attack every wall, because there are a lot of hidden walls there. So whether you can run through it or whether you knock it down first and then can run through it, and some of them like do get to a bench or to a shortcut or an NPC that really helps a lot later or something like that.
Well, like and also the fact that the game is so big, it means that a lot of secrets to get to those hidden things are probably there too.
That's where you find a lot of like backup ways or breakthroughs. I mean, that spot that I mentioned with Greymoor, you have that wall you can break down that leads you straight into the underground section. It cuts out a whole portion of back travel, activating those fans that you can use. There's so many like Dark Souls style, like flip the switch and open the gate that's going to let you do the straight shot. People just assume that what you're looking at is exactly what you can use instead of checking everything. And I feel like it's more, I wouldn't say obvious, but I feel like it's clear to be like, feels like there should be something to the left of me, and usually there is. Especially if you check the map and you're looking at like there's just kind of a blank space over here,
as opposed to
that's just great design. That's absolutely great design. That if you can like start thinking about that, and then the game kind of like rewards you for like you using the logic of like, why does this look like this right here on the map? And
but like you tell me that even for like Metroid Dread, I would have looked at you like, what do you mean I have to check every wall? What are you talking about? I can't follow the hallway they told me to go down. But that's the thing, they don't tell you to go down the hallway.
And that's just Metroidvania genre.
That's just the like, you just have to understand how that plays. And it kind of sucks to explain that to a new person who's never like experienced that concept. But let me tell you, the feeling of like when it finally clicks and you get that understanding of that way of thinking, it is such a more rewarding process. Because I mean, you look under every carpet and behind every drape, and there's going to be a tiny incremental upgrade or currency. In which, speaking of the currency, one little thing is that you can get a charm that will save some of your currency when you die. So dying isn't such like a, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose all my stuff anymore. Like there's a lot more resources to kind of like not create an easy mode for you, but just like in Elden Ring, when we've talked about, like there's certain weapons, there's certain things that you can do that make your life easier based on your own interests and play style. And you should not be feeling judged or less than by
using them,
because they're tools.
They're there for a reason. That's right.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of my soapbox for that one. It's like, understand that when there's not a difficulty setting, there's usually a resource that you can use. It's just, unfortunately, in Silksong's case, you have to brute force your way through until you can get to them.
And on top of that, in Silksong, grinding only takes you so far since it's not an RPG.
Yes.
So the reality is, like, I'm not saying this in the obnoxious, stupid Dark Souls idiot way, but
you have to get good here.
The game does force you to get better at it in order to proceed. Like there's no way to just level up and force your way past something. You have to get by it based on skill and merit. The other thing I wanted to add on to what we were talking about a minute ago, Paul, with the map is I will say, maybe I'm wrong here, but from everything I've seen, it's probably the most intricate and complicated map I have ever seen in a side-scrolling game. And I mean that in a positive way, not complicated.
I definitely get that. But the fact that they give you the compass so much faster makes it so much more navigatable. Because I remember Hollow Knight's, like, I could not figure out for the life of me. I was looking at the size and shape of every room to like, is this what it is? What am I doing? And then, oh, that was a miserable experience. But this one, they're like, here's exactly, just put the charm in, don't worry about it. Here's your little icon.
And in the original Hollow Knight, like whenever you start getting the quill to kind of like start filling up the map, you needed to go all the way to the bench to kind of like
you still do. You do.
Cool.
So like you can kind of keep going on, and your icon will still appear just off in the blackness.
Right. But it won't fill in the map until you sit down.
Yeah, okay. So they kept the same mechanic. Cool.
Yeah, they did.
It was one of the main complaints about the game, and they kept it, or the first game, and they kept it exactly the same for the second one.
I will say it. If you're really struggling, it's super brutal, because if you're exploring and you have no money and you find a bench that you have to activate, that is horrible. And that was where I was feeling for a while, because I was like, where the hell am I going to get 60 rosaries right now? Because I found this thing and I can't activate it. And then they kept going up in price as you found them. But now I've got about 900 rosaries, so I don't have that issue anymore.
Just don't die.
I'm terrified by it.
The most obnoxious thing is in I think it's in Greymore. There is a vendor that you have to pay to open the door, and then when you go inside, there is a bench there, right? And then the vendor's
I know
in there.
exactly what you're talking about.
But when you leave, the door closes and you got to pay to get back in. So now, if you were to die and that was the last bench you used, it still does respawn you in there, but you don't have your rosary, so you can't buy them. Yeah, you basically have to spend. There's like a. It's almost like an entry fee in order to be able to go in and buy the stuff from him.
Now, Rick, I'm going to tell you something
30,
wild
so
for this. If you go inside and break the mechanism right above your head, you don't have to do that anymore.
Nah, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
There is a gear that you can actually hit, and you'll break it, and then the door won't seal behind you.
It really, that game is so smart.
It is like, once again, the Elden Ring concept of like, wait, you can do that, except it's in a hand-drawn 2D Metroidvania instead of a Dark Souls game.
And more like curated in its design because of it being 2D.
Yeah,
instead
more
of
entirely curated. It's why it took 400 years to release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm glad that the deeper we've gotten since it came out, that it went from why did this take so long to we see
this is why it took so long.
Yes.
Yeah, this is why it took so long.
And I love
because
that.
everything is. You remember how when Inside came out, like the discussion was, it took them 6 years to make that, and the game was about 3. So it's like basically it took them about 2 years to make an hour. It's kind of that here, except obviously not quite that many years. That'd be a lot of years. But it's like it is designed that impeccably,
and
with
what they
every
said,
frame in the game.
And what they said, that they were having so much fun making it that they just kept adding more and more and more
They
stuff.
just kept adding it.
And I see that now. Really,
there are a lot of NPCs in this game, way more than in Hollow Knight.
So, by the way, and just as a real quick, it seems like Game of the Year is gonna be indie heavy this year, right? Like smaller.
Yeah, it's gonna be between those two, I would think, for sure.
Yeah, it's like the ones that are gonna be like nominated. I'm like, what AAA game can even compete at this point? It does feel like this is the breakout, like indie.
It kind of makes me glad in hindsight that GTA 6 got delayed out of this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want all of this to like really shine.
Mm-hmm. And there's like you can make like many arguments for a lot of like the smaller titles. Right now, the only game that I feel like it will be there just by default of its reviews is Split Fiction, because that's one of the higher rated games of this year, but is the one that I feel like really came and went the most out of all of those. Then obviously KCD2, it's AA because of the size of the team at Warsaw that did it, but it's still like it presents itself as so impressively. Obviously, E33 is the narrative studio of the year of like the 30 people made this game and all of that felt like a flashpoint. But it's so funny to think that those are the ones that are gonna have the conversation. And of course, Hades will be there. Like Hades
once again.
Yeah. So it's like I would be shocked if, based on like what I already heard of the early access of Hades 2, that's not also in the running. Dude, it's like AAA.
I thought it actually was up. Maybe I'm wrong though. But I thought it did get PC at least potential candidacy last year. I know obviously it was early access, but
it did.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. It didn't. I thought it did.
Yeah, I think Aside added it just as this is so good that we're making the exception, kind of like when PUBG was nominated when it was in the horrible early access in 2017. So, but at least like in general terms, like 1.0 is this year. So, and it's next week, which is wild, man. Glad that you guys are loving Silksong. I'll dive in relatively soon. I'm waiting to.
You had to fight through your redacted game. You gotta fight through it.
Yeah.
Just one more quick thing I want to say is, yes, it can live up to the hype.
Yes.
That's all I have to say.
In fact,
it surpassed the hype.
I was shocked to find out that in fact it was as good as everybody kept saying.
It has surpassed the hype that it had.
Well,
wild.
In 2025, I never expected one of the games that were gonna be so all over was gonna be the sequel to Hollow Knight. Like,
not even close.
Literally,
not even close on any of my lists. I was like, this is gonna go, and there's no way it's gonna build up to the hype. This was like Half-Life 3 levels of hype. And somehow everyone's like, oh shoot, it's actually just as good as we were
thinking.
Yes. So I think that adds a lot of weight to that, especially for the people that know like the kinds of games that Paul likes. And the last time he really dove into Metroidvania, at the very end it burned him, like Metroid Dread and its final boss.
Although that said, considering one of your other heavy hitters is Shinobi, I know it's not a Metroidvania.
I've really come a long way.
Similar kind of gameplay there. So
I think I have to give props to Shinobi preparing the ground floor. For
sure. I went through some crap to get get here, but I will say I did not have any difficulty near outside of like those optional challenges. Shinobi felt like much more of a like a linear cinematic 2D game, much more on the action focus. I mean, just the fact that you can be inside the sprite of any enemy and not immediately take damage is a huge thing for me as a concept, because it promotes you to just be up in their face constantly, and I love that concept. You could juggle almost everybody.
Yeah, and that's the character action base, kind of like the DNA that you love.
The fact that Shinobi is going to be in like my top 5 probably blows my mind, and then the fact that Silksong
it is another one. While it's not an indie by true metrics, I would not be surprised to see that crack some lists.
Oh yeah.
I'm just worried that it's like everyone's going to do that thing like they do in the Oscars, where it's like, oh, another thing that's kind of like this is already here, we can't include it, which is some garbage, but here we are.
Yeah, because like Ragebound's also really good, Ninja Gaiden, but like Shinobi's absolutely a better game out of those two. Like
I think Shinobi blows it out of the water, and it's not even close, unfortunately. But I did get to play Ragebound, so I can say that.
I have Ragebound now, but I haven't played it yet. Mine finally came.
It's not bad either. It's a good game, and then I was just like, oh, this is kind of nice, and then I played Shinobi. I was like, damn, this is actually really fun. And then I played Silksong. I was like, am I a Metroidvania guy?
Yeah, I do love that they are from two different publishers, and they gather together to sell them together. Like there's a bundle with both Shinobi and Ragebound.
Oh, really? On PC or what?
I really appreciate it.
I didn't know
PS5. So it's like that's actually like really cool, because it's like that's two separate publishers. Usually like publishing agreements, whenever you buy a game, like someone gets a cut and all that, so they needed to
it's really just low profile enough for everybody to actually be chill.
That's so good. Oh man,
I haven't even opened it yet, but this is the European special edition. I wasn't sure exactly what terminology they used.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah, really good game. It's just like don't play it while streaming. Like I did.
I'm sure.
Yeah, so let me talk about the redacted game that I couldn't talk about in the episode that got lost last week. That was Towa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. So Towa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree is a game published by Bandai Namco and developed by a developer called Brownies, and they're known for this game. It was a season game. I'm trying to remember what the name of what was the name of the. It was like kind of like a cozy RPG, but kind of like also like farming simulator called Doraemon's Story of Seasons. So when you look at this game, it's basically you think it's a Hades style of roguelike, with the only difference that it has its anime aesthetic that's kind of like dealing with like mysticism and things like that, and furry looking like character models. And at first this is a game that I got to try as because it was one of the new reveals at the showcase that was like, oh yeah, we revealed the game, come try it over here at Playday. So I kind of got to test it a little bit, and then obviously got the chance to review it. I would say it's a pretty good Hades light. I would say it's not overly impressive in a way. I gave it a 7.5, so I thought it was still pretty good, just not great. I would say the thing that makes it stand out the most is that despite the fact that its story is so run-of-the-mill, like think heroes gather together to defy a god that's here infecting the lands and all that, is like very traditional stock JRPG fodder that you've probably seen in so many different things. The thing that makes it unique as a roguelike is the fact that despite the basic nature of its story, you play as 8 characters, and as you play through like each level, you have to sacrifice your characters as you kind of like go forward. These are all fully like developed characters with their own skill trees. You can upgrade them and all of that. You play
like sacrifice like the
kill them. You have to kill them.
Oh shoot,
that's actually cool. I like that.
Okay, okay.
You have to actually kill them, because like their sacrifice was gonna heal the world, like from the corruption of this god. And how it works is that like every time you make a run, you pick your main character that's gonna be your offensive option, and then you pick a support character, and they only do magic and support and whatever ability that they have. Something is offensive, something is just kind of like heal you quickly, keep some shields on and all of that. And then when you finish the full level, like you complete a full run, at the end you sacrifice the support character. So sometimes like maybe like something like, for example, what happened to me, like I mainlined with a guy named let me remember the name. It was Nishimi. It was like in the concept art, is this buff guy with the big fish head, I liked his move sets because he did like he plays with katana. He starts jumping around and things like that. And I pushed him so hard until the level his move set was just not working. So I had to switch to like a different character, and I put him as a support character.
Oh
And
no.
and then I had to kill him after. And this was the
So
character.
you have to decide who's in the
Yeah.
support role,
Oh, yeah,
knowing
you-
they're gonna die after the first.
Exactly, and that's your choice. You can like mix and match each character in the middle of a run. You'll have a chance to stop at a bonfire. You have like conversations about the world, what makes them tick, and all that. And everyone has like different interactions with each other. And then you permanently kill the support character.
So this is Spiritfarer, but action game.
Kinda, sorta.
For anybody that played that one, that was the whole concept was you get to like work with them, except it was more Sims like, and
Yeah.
you got to work alongside them, and at the end you had to like make them pass on, but their stuff was like stuck on your ship. So you had to like piece together where you put them very specifically because it was forever going to be stuck there. But so this almost sounds like that, but in a roguelike in action.
Yes, in a
which is
roguelike similar to
interesting.
Hades. That the combat I wouldn't say is as deep as Hades, especially because it's more automatic. It's like up here in the shoulder, so you can just hold the button and you kind of like do the attack. The magic kind of comes in of how you do the attacks mixed with the support abilities of who you have paired with. Sometimes it's cool to start like slashing until like your weapon degrades to a certain point that then you have to switch to another weapon for that to recover its durability. And in that switch, then you can probably have a character that has like a big slam attack that as you're switching the weapon, then that character can like take cover for you as you change. You can even select to control that secondary character with like the right stick and make it kind of like brothers at Tilt to Sons, where you can like you position that character, because otherwise like they're stuck together. So you have that choice on. Sometimes I barely use that because my brain like sometimes it gets in a Hades like quick action game. Something like imagine having to control two characters when all of that is happening. Is like, to me that was like too much pandemonium. It worked in specific boss fights because a lot of the boss fights here at least telegraph well when they're gonna attack, and the game really recommends you to, if you see that there's like red in the floor, they're about to attack, don't be cocky. Don't like get out of the way. Like make sure that you get out of the way, because like in your cockiness, like you're gonna lose, because some of these attacks are like sometimes really brutal, and it's kind of a hard game because it's a roguelike. It's like that's part of the loop. You're gonna like keep like pushing these levels. You're gonna be pushed back because you didn't have enough resources, but in that run you got more to improve your weapons, increase the abilities of your characters, and things like that. And I do like that you eventually do have to run into that wall that you're gonna have to sacrifice who you put. And
that's what I was about to ask: is do you have to sacrifice, or is that like is it required for story progression?
Yes. Oh yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. It's like that's the point. That's kind of like the entire point. Your support character is the one that's gonna sacrifice themselves to heal this land. So who you sacrifice, that's your choice, because it's 8 characters. So it's like the different permutations of who you can take and mix. That's what makes it fascinating. I'm excited to see like for the people that play this game, who do they mainline with? How they play it? Are they gonna like keep like just do an offensive character one level, and then the other time they're gonna be a support and immediately kill them? Are they gonna like mainline one, make it work, and then just eliminate everyone else? And just knowing that every character has like different interactions, despite the story still being generic, I do like that there's a sense of history between like those things, and that's a personal stake on how you progress through this game, because like is your choice who you're killing to save this world. And why I only gave it like a 7.5 is because a lot of its action is very derivative. The story didn't really like, in a mainline sense, it's what I expected. It's just kind of like how I got there. That was cool because of that action. Yeah, it does the roguelike thing of like, yeah, you're gonna have to play a lot of these levels maybe over and over and over again to finally get it, until you're finally strong enough, or the RNG of the upgrades you get when you're like finishing a room and you have the choices of two rooms. Something is luck of the draw. What helped me in some levels is finally RNG blessing me with an upgrade that allowed me to heal with every attack that I made, because healing in this game can be like a real bitch. So that is the thing that finally let me broke through in some of these levels. And I do like the art, even though like some of the character designs can be, Paul, you're gonna be a nerd with some of these character designs. I'll just tell you that from what I know of you, what unnerves you.
All right, okay, I see what you mean.
But I think the watercolor aesthetic is really cool. I would say shockingly unacceptable that for a game of this kind of aesthetic that is so low resolution on a PS5, like blown up to on a big screen. It looks like so low res that it's like it shouldn't be this low res. Why does this look like a Switch game? And I'm playing on PS5. I actually enjoyed it the most playing it on a Portal because it was like a smaller screen. It's like top down, and the 1080p resolution actually worked for like for like the art style. And I think it's
is it only on PS5 or
no? It's on everything. It's like if this
because actually you mentioned that might make a good Switch game
yes.
based on what it is.
Oh yes, and like it would be like a great Switch game. I feel bad that it's launching 6 days before Hades, so it's like everyone that wants to play like the roguelike is like it has at the very least because it's multi-platform and Hades is just an exclusive to PC and Switch. This could be like for the other platforms. You want to get like you want to scratch your itch with a roguelike in this style. Like this one's good enough. It's not great overall because I kind of wish the combat was like not as one note as it initially is. There's more depth than it is, but I feel like other me that I played Hades, there's just more nuance to that combat than this one. And I do feel that the concept is what carries it. That idea that it's like how you color the story with who you sacrifice with is probably the thing that made the most impact. Like I felt losing my fish because he was my main guy. I just couldn't make it work. Like his offensive just wasn't working. And like in one of the later levels, I was like, crap. And his support was actually really good for what I needed. So it's like,
you said about it being inexpensive. Yeah, you're not kidding. It's only a $30 game.
Yeah, it's like pretty cheap. So
yeah.
So it published by Bandai Namco. So it's like we're in the era of the roguelike. I made that that point in my review where it's like everyone makes fun that everyone was copying from software, but I feel like we get roguelikes of everything now. Like every month feels like either a game is getting a DLC like Donkey Kong, that's roguelike, or like or we're getting like a new roguelike game. So this is basically that. So it's one hook. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty good. So if that sounds interesting to you, definitely I would say I recommend it. To me, a 7.5.
I do like the idea of having to sacrifice your party. That is a very cool.
Just
cool
imagine imagine if you were playing like a Mass Effect game where it's like the actual hook is you sacrificing your party that you're connecting with.
I would willingly give up Ashley right off the bat.
I think.
In fact, I don't need any return. You can just kill her. That's fine.
Arguably, that probably should have been how Mass Effect 2 actually went. Instead of just upgrading your ship and then solving the problem 100%, it would be like somebody's gonna die, and it's always a roulette on who it's gonna be.
Yeah,
you have to sacrifice one side of the ship for
I love
the other.
Yeah, I love Mass Effect 2 back in the day, and just thinking about it, it's like it's really funny how mechanical the solution actually can be.
Mm-hmm.
That's
as simple as like the scientist is like, hey, you need to fix the ship or everybody's gonna die. It's like, okay, let's fix the ship. Okay, nobody's gonna die.
Yeah, that game is more interesting if you don't 100% prepare and just kind of wing it. Because seeing those consequences out in 3 can feel good, but it's like I hope more people do this. Kind of like I like the idea that maybe the story is like basic, but like the way you color the story with your choices, especially with the idea for roguelike, because everyone can have like a different experience of how you like loop yourself through this. And this thing does the one thing that I love from Hades is that it doesn't feel like a run is wasted time, because there's always kind of like story happening. Like your base, there's always like new conversations that can happen based on how far you got into a level, and then you kind of have those conversations. Through those conversations, you unlock more stuff, either like materials or like a system that wasn't available before. That's when you unlock the blacksmithing, and the blacksmithing reminded me a lot of Blades of Fire, ironically, which was training because
your favorite game this year. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but it was like at least this game was cute enough that I was like, I'll take that. But you can also automize it. You don't need you can just let a blacksmith do it for you, and it still gives you pretty good weapon. And I was just kind of rushing because I was reviewing this. Embargo was today, so it has a 73 on Metacritic. So I landed right. I said 7.5 like 3 days ago at the SG guys. So I was like, ooh, yeah. So I'm reading. There's someone that knows how to read the room with what
I was about to say somebody at Caesar Gaming can at least review things within the average scale.
Yes, but yeah, I recommend it. Like for people that know me, I recommend 7s. So. Like it's a pretty good game, and if that sounds conceptually cool to you, if you're not gonna get Hades 2 because you don't have a Switch 2, you want to play it on PC and just want to wait, and you kind of want to play this kind of like top-down Hades-like action RPG, yeah, it's pretty good. So
yeah, nice. $30 is a perfectly fair asking price from what you've just described. So
yeah, so and maybe you can hit one of the subscription services at any point too. It's like perfect for that. So,
Sweet.
right. Let's get into some quick headlines, shall we? The last time, like, in the episode that we lost, the Nintendo Direct had just been announced, and it was gonna happen on that Friday. We recorded on a Thursday, so it was like we're not gonna be able to talk about it anyway, but now we can. So I'm opening the IGN article of everything that's announced. So I'm just gonna read through everything real quick, and until the end we can give thoughts, so we can kind of like blast through. So Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will officially be released this December, on December 4th, 2025, and they showed a motorcycle mechanic in its like open world. They announced a new Fire Emblem called Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. That was the big finale of the Nintendo Direct, and that's coming out in 2026. Donkey Kong Bonanza, DK Island, and Emerald Rush DLC launched that day. So it's that the first like expansion to that game, and it was like pretty quick how they expanded. It's basically adding the island from DK64 and a roguelike mode. So Pokemon Pokopia is a cozy life sim farming game starring a Ditto that looks like a human. That also comes out in 2026. Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are getting a bundle release on October 2nd. And you can buy those games separately for 40 or get them together for 70. And on Nintendo Switch 2, they're gonna get a 4K resolution. And they also announced that the Mario Galaxy movie arrives in April 2026, so next year. And obviously it's synergy. That's why they're doing this Galaxy tie-in, which is like smart. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book has you learning all about the world around you. So another Yoshi game that seems very similar to Yoshi's Stories from N64 and the first Yoshi game for the Nintendo Switch 2 since I don't know if it was Woolly World, whatever that was, in 2018. Virtual Boy, for some reason, is coming back as a physical item that will support over 14 games on the Switch, and the virtual and you need an actual Virtual Boy to be able to play that on your online subscription. It's either $100 or you can buy a cardboard model for $25.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Sorry, I was trying to stay quiet the whole
One
time.
person in the entire world rejoiced at that news.
Oh yes.
One.
Yes. Pokemon Legends CA Mega Dimension Stars Mega Raichu X and Mega Raichu Y. I think this is like a DLC that was pre-announced for like the game that's still coming out in October. Super Mario Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Meetup in Belleville Park will be released in spring 2026. So the Switch 2 edition of that game. Mario Tennis Fever, which got the excitement of someone that shall remain nameless, launches on February 2026, and Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is gonna release on November, and Hades 2 releases on the 25th of September. Resident Evil Requiem is getting a day-and-date release on the Nintendo Switch 2, and Biohazard and Village are gonna launch that same day on the Nintendo Switch 2. So I don't know why you're like dumping all those three games together, but hey, I guess. Kirby Air Riders announced more amiibos for that game and announced another direct. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
45 minutes wasn't enough. We have more to show.
Sakurai loves his yapping. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade makes its way to Switch in January 22nd, and they announced that the full trilogy is making its way to the Nintendo Switch 2 and the Xbox platform. Tomodachi Life Living the Dream coming in spring 2026. I would argue the biggest announcement of this thing, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, comes out on February 5th, 2026. Stardew Valley, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, adds mouse controls, co-op, and 120 frames mode if you're playing on docked. And there's a bunch of games that were announced for Switch 2, like Overcooked 2, One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, Human Fall Flat, and a release window for Monster Hunter Stories 3, which is on March 13, 2026. The Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection comes out on October 30th digitally and December 12th physically. Dynasty Warriors Origins, the Dynasty Warriors from earlier this January, comes out on January 2026 for the Nintendo Switch 2. A Suika game that basically has the faces of the Pusheen cat. It's apparently on the way. I don't think they gave it a release date, but it's one of those itsy-cutesy party games. Storm Lancers needs you to travel to the core of an alien planet to stop reality from collapsing. Some game called Storm Lancers. Fatal Frame 2 comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. Power Wash Simulator 2 is also coming to Nintendo Switch 2. A new version of Danganronpa 2 called 2x2 comes out in 2026 for the Switch 2. And a weird game called Color Plays, that is kind of like a weird multiplayer game. A game called Linked, Banner of the Spark mixes the action of a roguelite with the charm of a life sim. Releases sometime, I don't know when. A game with a stupid name called Dincom has players turning a rugged island into a bustling town. EA Sports FC 2026, Little Nightmares 3, Persona 3 Reloaded, or more also headed to Switch too. So, including other games like Dragon Quest 1 and 2, HD2 Remake that we already knew about, Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage 2 Point Museum, Lego Voyagers, and this Gaia 7 Complete. That was a 60-minute Nintendo Direct with a bunch of stuff, but tell me, like, obviously we don't have to talk about all of this because to me, like, there's not much.
We've got like 10 minutes. We have no way we were going to cover all of it.
Yeah. To me,
really, the main thing was, of course, having Galaxy 2 available on modern consoles was a huge deal. I hate that price that they added it at, but I mean, whatever.
Nintendo got Nintendo.
Yep, they are always going to Nintendo. Metroid Prime 4, the motorcycle concept is really cool. Some of the visuals is a little struggling.
Yeah.
Not the best look to it. I'm excited to see what's going on with Fire
Coming
Emblem.
out this year, at least. It's amazing this year.
You said Metroid?
Metroid's coming in December 4.
Yeah. At least we'll find out. That'll be nice. The DK DLC, I got word from somebody who bought it and played it. It is not worth the price. Apparently, it's literally just the roguelike, and there's absolutely nothing to do on the island. From DK64, it's just literally like you can walk around it, and there's
it's like a theme park basically. If you have nostalgia for like the DK Island from 64, it's basically
like $20
for $20. It's basically the roguelike mode. So it's like, I mean, it's what I said in my reviews. There's so many roguelike. It feels like that's how the people are expanding their games. It's roguelike after roguelike after roguelike. So
I think like there's parts of this that were really nice, but then it kind of goes into and this is still coming to Switch too. And then it's like, all right, well, we heard about that. Let's get moving. Really cool to see the reimagining of Dragon Quest 7, a title that everybody's saying should have been used for Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, because it's more of a reimagining.
We had that lovely debate a while ago about this, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, I think it's like Dragon Quest 7 was probably the biggest pop because it was like kind of came out of nowhere, and the fact that they're saying that they're like streamlining it because this is one of the longest early Dragon Quest games too. That is like super bloated and super long.
We say early, but it's the 7th.
Exactly. There's like 12 of them. There, I mean, 12 is still coming. So it's like it's that many. This was more of a direct of like, okay, cool, finally I get my releases to know what I'm playing on the Switch from here until like February. And most of those things that I'm kind of interested in, but it's like not much in the way of like new announcements. It's still kind of like something that me and Rick once talked about, that we're kind of like stuck in this place where so many ports from games that we played are still kind of like, it feels like everything's kind of aligning, be like, okay, we got.
But very rarely the ports we freaking want.
Yes.
Damn it, Nintendo, come on.
Yes, yeah.
You gave me one at least, I'll say that.
Yeah, and it's a big one because it was like I had lost faith in Galaxy 2 after like they treated it like it didn't exist when they did the 35th anniversary in 2020, when they did this video. Here's the history of Mario games, and then after Galaxy 1 it just jumped straight to Odyssey. It was like, why didn't you say anything about Galaxy 2, you bastard? It's like, that's a great game. So, but it's happening, and it's like so now we wait for a state of play that's supposedly next week, because we're in that era of like that.
Concord 2 gets announced.
Yes, and TGS is next week too. Kojima's doing their thing of like the future of Kojima Productions. For the certain Red Bearded Sensations, the RGG thing is happening there. So hopefully we don't have to hear.
They're gonna announce like a whole new game that's like same, cowboy themed or something.
But it's still basically the same game. So.
It's basically the same game, yeah.
That still would not be as weird as the Fist of the North Star game.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yep.
Oh man. And I'm excited for the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection that has a release, because I love those early Mortal Kombat games. And I'm excited for the documentary that thing's gonna have, because the Digital Extremes does amazing documentaries of all games.
That's a heck of a collection. It really is. That is a good collection.
They've added games. They've added more and more and more games.
Yeah, they added the Sub-Zero game, and they added the, was it called Special Forces or whatever?
Special Forces, the GBA versions of things, and that is like, that thing is a very like massive.
Yeah, there's like 30 games in that if you take the different versions into account.
Wait, which one are we talking about?
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Legacy.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of collections, apparently that Mega Man, the
Yes,
like
got
Star
announced.
Force thing.
Yeah, it got announced in the Japan
I
Direct.
didn't even remember that, and I watched it live.
Yeah, it was because it was at the Japan Direct. It was exclusive and exclusive
Okay.
announced, even though it's a worldwide release. I don't know why that wasn't here.
Only Nintendo would do that.
Yes,
Have two different directs.
Yeah, they would split you. They would split you brutally. So yeah, that was pretty much the Nintendo Direct, and I'm just gonna pay lip service to the headlines that we missed. We don't really have to talk about them like in depth. Just really quick, where the freak is. I lost the thing. So basically, some of the things that we talked about last week. The Skate Early Access is apparently hilariously bad. It's free to play. Go try it. It's really bad.
Watch the videos. Everybody is rolling around like it's Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's amazing.
It's all they do. Yeah. And then they jump like 200 feet in the air.
Yes, and so some of the things we talked about were Battlefield 6 Battle Royale reveal that's having 100 players and a destruction everywhere thing. That's going to be interesting as an anti-Fortnite. Machine Games confirmed that Wolfenstein is still seen as a trilogy of games, and they haven't really finished it yet, so you don't count Youngblood.
Oh, thank God they're not counting Youngblood.
Yes, exactly. It's like that's just like an option. So they're still thinking in trilogy terms, but me and Rick kind of were talking about that. It's like Indiana Jones did well for them, so who knows if they're going to jump to a sequel.
That would be nice.
Obviously, Tetsuya Nomura, around that time when we talked about, had just said that, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 is making good progress, and also Kingdom Hearts 4. So maybe we hear something at TGS after that, but if not, me and Rick made the bet that maybe Game Awards would be like where we hear about one of these two games. And we gave our thoughts of the 007 First Light State of Play, because we had that happened the week that you guys had your solo episode, so we kind of got to talk about what we liked, what we were and what we didn't like, or our hopes about that game. And also we got to mention that the CEO mentioned that the Mindside disaster means that it remains to be seen whether they're gonna publish other studios games again, which is an amazing own goal.
It's almost a rule now that this podcast has to reference every Mind's Eye news that comes out.
Yes.
Like we will parade this dead corpse around like Achilles.
Oh yes, it's one of the funniest unfortunate associations we have with that. like for the people that know. But let me read the release dates for. Or Paul, do you want to read them?
I do, because I really am motivated to move quickly through this. So this is September 21st through 28th. We have Blood 3 on PC on September 22nd. Endless Legend 2, Early Access on PC on September 22nd. Baby Steps, PlayStation 5 PC, September 23rd. Creepy Redneck Dinosaur Mansion 1, Re-Raptored PC on September 23rd. Slime Rancher 2, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S PC on September 23rd. Consume Me on PC September 25th. Hades 2, Switch and PC on September 25th. Lost Rift Early Access PC on September 25th, Silent Hill F, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S PC on September 25th, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC on September 25th, Atelier Wrestleriana, The Red Alchemist and White Guardian, PlayStation 5, Switch, and PC on September 26th, EA Sports FC 26, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC on September 26th, Free Ride, Switch on September 26th, Hotel Barcelona, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC on September 26th. You know what? I want exclusives just so I don't have to keep saying every single anymore. NBA Bounce on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on September 26th, and Pac-Man World 2 Repack on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC on September 26th.
I have 4 things of interest in this list, which is obviously Hades 2, Silent Hill F.
Gosh.
Sonic Racing Cross Worlds reviewed today, got an 84 on OpenCritic.
I saw it was very well reviewed.
And a 9
People
out of 10.
People are dunking on Mario Kart right now, thanks to it.
The thing is that Sonic Racing has been better than Mario Kart in specific areas, and this feels like the first time that...
We just need this to actually light a fire under them.
Yes.
Besides that, I don't think there's really anything that I'm actually interested in on this one.
Pac-Man
just
World,
Silent Hill for me.
Yeah, and Pac-Man World repack because I was a big fan of Pac-Man World 2 on PS2. I kind of want to.
I was meaning to ask about that because I was like, why is he interested in the Pac-Man game?
It's a PS2 game that I played a lot in 2004. So it's like I bought it for 20. I bought it from Blockbuster for $20. It was the greatest hits red, red thing. So. Well,
I gotta get off in the next 30 seconds, so let's wrap.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Paul, where can people find you?
As always, y'all can find me at Dork of Art on Twitter. I post times of me breaking games and cool screenshots sometimes, and that's about it right now.
Yes. Rick, where can people find you?
Which4969 on Twitter, and most Fridays, although not tomorrow, at youtube.com/spreadingthenerd with me and Clint. Last week we had our whatever 50th episode.
Mm-hmm.
Twas fun. Go watch it.
Yes, and I was there too. And you can find me at A_Dorsegobi on Twitter /X, A_Segovia on Blue Sky, twitch.tv/The Slayer Giant, as I'm still trying to find a regular schedule there, and my written content over at seasongaming.com, where you can go read my review for Towa that I mentioned today. That went live the day we recorded. So, Jance, thank you for being here. Love always hanging and chatting with you guys. I'll see one of you next week, so hopefully. And until then, everyone, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy all the million games that we're cursed and blessed with in the September 2025 that just doesn't stop. And enjoy the start of the fall pretty soon. And
press X
to play.
To play.
Good night, everybody.
Hasta la vista, baby.